Yeah, and imagine, if you do want to save some money because you think the meat is more expensive, there's no doubt about it. But if you think you can't afford just the meat, then, do exactly what you're saying. Cook the meat up, put some rice in there, put some beans in there, and even on top of that, throw a few eggs in there. And I guarantee you can eat for dollars a day. I mean, a few dollars a day if you ate that, because you're going to eat. If you ate 3 servings of that, and each serving is probably like 800 calories, I guarantee you it's going to be less than $2 a day. I mean, seriously. I mean, that's how easy it is to eat inexpensively. Don't you have some examples of some prices and stuff that you set up?
Yeah, let me just get to the right place in my notes. This is one thing I worked out one time. This sort of speaks to the cost idea, but also to the people will say access or availability. So I looked it up, and this is a year or two old, so these numbers aren't 100% accurate to today, but I'm sure they're still very close. What I did is I looked up food at Walmart, because there are at the time there were 4,472 Walmart stores in the United States. So and I also in a post I wrote about this, I showed a link that showed Walmarts in urban areas and Walmarts in rural areas. So they're sort of everywhere. Nobody's too far from a Walmart. And what I did is I sort of spec'd out a meal that was 2 cans of black beans, a can of tuna, and a tablespoon of olive oil. That the whole meal comes to $2.53, and that's 1,040 kilocalories. So that's as we're talking about, most people walking around don't need more than
they need about half that for a meal. About half that.
That's right. And so I did that. Actually, I think I have it just a little lower. If you change it to 1 can of beans, it's a 620 kilocalorie meal for $1.75.
Right.
We're talking about. We could poke holes in that meal. It's not if we're talking about an optimum performance kind of meal, we could find some legitimate holes in that. But on a spectrum where one end of the spectrum is like the junkiest junk food and the other end of the spectrum is the most optimal way of eating, I would put a meal like that something like 70 or 80 on that. If 100 is the optimal meal and 0 is the junkiest junk food meal, I'd give that like somewhere between 70 and 90. Like it's a lot closer to optimal than it is close to terrible, right? And there you go, 253. And